Bracket games live now. CBS Sports app and cbssports.com/bracket. Scan that QR code. It'll take you right there. Sign up. Printable brackets. Play with your friends. Join big leagues all around the country. It's all right there for the men's and the women's side. But we're going to focus on the men. What?
The men's and the women's side?
The men's and the women's, yes. Okay. The men's and the women's. Amanda Guerra, woman. Gary Parish, mans. Chris Hassel, mans. Let's fill out a bracket, Gary, starting in the South region where Auburn is the #1 overall seed.
Yeah, obviously, I don't really care who wins that first 4 game that'll be played later tonight. I will take Auburn to win in the round of 64 and advance to the round of 32, where I'll have them playing Louisville. Obviously, most 8-9 games are going to be competitive by nature, but Louisville is only playing 70 minutes from its campus inside Rupp Arena in Lexington. I think that's going to be enough to give them an advantage over the Blue Jays. I'll take Louisville to advance. Michigan coming off of a Big Ten tournament title. I'll take Dusty May into the round of 32. And then Texas A&M, they've got those really good guards, most notably Wade Taylor IV, Bud Williams team gets past Yale into the round of 32. I've got Ole Miss, Chris Beard's Rebels, advancing into the round of 32, regardless of who wins San Diego State, North Carolina. And then I've got Iowa State. I do not love that Keyshawn Gilbert has been ruled out of this NCAA tournament. He's obviously an important part of that team, but I'll still take Iowa State to at least get to the round of 32. I've got Marquette over New Mexico. Terrific guard matchup there. Cam Jones, as you know, my little homie from Memphis, has been a star up at Marquette for 4 seasons. Love seeing him finish his college career with a deep tournament run. I think he will at least get that first round win. And then I've got Michigan State over Bryant. Going back up to the top, I've got Auburn getting past Louisville. I don't think that the Tigers should be having to play a team 70 miles from its own campus in the round of 32, given that Auburn is the #1 overall seed. I feel like the committee did them wrong here, but they're still good enough, despite the way they've been playing lately, to get past Louisville in Lexington. I've got Auburn over Louisville. I've got Michigan getting past Texas A&M. Ole Miss over Iowa State. I think that's where the Keyshawn Gilbert injury starts to show up. Michigan State past Marquette. So I've got Auburn and Michigan in the Sweet 16. Obviously, the SEC champs against the Big Ten tournament champs. I will take Auburn to get past Michigan. I'll take Ole Miss to get past Michigan State. That would obviously be an upset. And I would have 2 SEC schools in the Elite 8 of that South region. Auburn against Ole Miss.
Don't worry, Gary. I've written it all down by hand, so I've advanced everybody. You did a great job, by the way, moving through that. I was
going to say, not even being able to see the graphics right there. He did a phenomenal job.
We're good.
Let's head to the West region here. You got Florida is the #1 seed there. As I mentioned earlier in the show, I will be jumping on the Florida bandwagon for this tournament here. Also back-to-back defending champs, UConn, who took a while to get going, but they are certainly going now, Gary. Reveal this one for us.
At Florida, I'm not going to pick them to lose a 1-16 game. The Gators are coming off an SEC tournament championship. They are second at KenPom right now. They should obviously cruise in a 1-16 matchup. Let's advance them. I've got UConn over Oklahoma. I think this is a nice reset place for Dan Hurley, his staff, and his roster. I apologize.
You're not really an Oklahoma basketball fan, are you?
Let the man speak, Chris.
You just booed him.
It's fine. Keep going, Gary.
Amanda was the booer. I got UConn over Oklahoma, and I think this is a nice reset spot for Dan Hurley and his staff and his roster. They've been chasing rankings and quad 1 wins and everything since going 0-3 in Maui. Now none of that stuff matters anymore. They're just playing a bracket that they have navigated quite well over the previous 2 seasons. Obviously, different cast of characters, but I do think UConn can get past Oklahoma in that round of 64. I've got my alma mater, Memphis, getting past Colorado State, but I do not like what I'm hearing about Tyrese Hunter and his foot. Memphis expected to make an official announcement about Tyrese Hunter at some point soon, but nothing I'm hearing suggests that he is likely to play in that game. Still, I'll take the Tigers, led by P.J. Haggerty, to advance. I've got Maryland moving into the round of 32. Drake over Missouri in what would be an upset. Ben McCollum, big name on the coaching carousel right now. Missouri has lost 4 or 5 entering Selection Sunday. I'll take Drake to get past them. Texas Tech Tech over UNCW. I've got Kansas over Arkansas. High-profile matchup, Bill Self, John Calipari in the round of 64. I'll take the Jayhawks, preseason #1, to get past the Arkansas team that's been better but never really great. And then St. John's and Rick Pitino also advancing into the round of 32. You circle back up. I've got that Florida-UConn matchup. This is where the Huskies' quest to be back-to-back-to-back champs officially ends. Florida over UConn. I've got Memphis over Maryland. P.J. Haggerty named a second-team AP All-American today. Keep an eye on him. He plays in the AAC, so maybe not a lot of people have seen him, but he has been a terrific guard this season. Big-time scorer. Memphis over Maryland. I've got Texas Tech getting past Drake. I've got St. John's getting past Kansas. In the Sweet 16, it would be Florida and Memphis. I've got the Gators over the Tigers. And then I've got St. John's getting past Texas Tech to set up an Elite Eight matchup in that West region between Florida and St. John's. That would be #1 versus #2 in the West region.
Okay, we're taking you up to the Elite Eight right now, and then Gary's going to tell us who his champion is and how the Final Four goes and all of that. But let's go up to the East region now, Gary, where the Duke Blue Devils, not only are they the odds-on favorite, but Sportsline has Duke winning this tournament almost 1 out of every 4 simulations.
Yeah, regardless of whether Cooper Flagg is in uniform or not on Friday, I suspect Duke has no problems in the round of 64. Let's put them in the round of 32. Well, they'll be waiting on the winner of Mississippi State Baylor. I'll take the Bulldogs in that one. Chris Jan's team advances to the round of 32. I've got Oregon over Liberty. I've got Arizona advancing. VCU over BYU in a matchup of letters, I guess. Wisconsin, I've got getting past Montana. I've got St. Mary's getting past Vanderbilt, and Alabama advancing as well. Go back up to the top. I'm going to put Duke past Mississippi State. I'm going to put Arizona past Oregon. VCU over Wisconsin would be a big upset, a Big Ten power getting knocked off by the A-10 regular season co-champs and the A-10 tournament champs. I've got VCU into the Sweet 16. I've got Alabama also joining them in the Sweet 16. And so then the Sweet 16 is Duke, Arizona, VCU, and Alabama. I've got Duke advancing. I've got VCU getting past Alabama. A-10 tournament champs. I'm a believer in that team. I've seen them a lot. They've got power conference players in a non-power conference. Not enough to get past Duke, but enough to get to the Elite Eight. Duke and VCU playing with a chance to go to the Final Four in the East Region Final.
Love them.
Okay, all right, I see it. I do have a copy of this here, so I'm cheating. Gary, I've also not filled out my bracket, so I will be using this. So let's go to the final region here, Midwest here. You have Houston here as the #1 seed. They have won more games than any school in the past 2 seasons. And, excuse me, look at it. I mean, some upset to be calling it, but it doesn't look like anything massive.
I don't see Houston having any problems early on. SIUE has been tremendous under Brian Baroni. It's a great story, but Houston should have no problems there. I've got Gonzaga getting past Georgia to keep their streak of Sweet 16 appearances alive, at least temporarily. Clemson over Will Wade, the Clemson graduate. Clemson moves on to the round of 32. Purdue past High Point. Illinois past Texas and Xavier winner. Whoever wins it, I'll take Illinois to advance. Kentucky over Troy. Utah State past UCLA. Tennessee, obviously, over Wofford. Go back up to the top. I'm going to have Houston beating Gonzaga, and that means the Zag streak of Sweet 16 appearances, remarkable, 9. It should end there. I've got Clemson getting past Purdue. I've got Illinois getting past Kentucky. I just think the injury stuff at some point is going to be too much for Mark Pope's program to deal with. And then Tennessee over Utah State. So in the Sweet 16, we would have Houston over Clemson. I will take Kelvin Sampson's Cougars to eliminate Clemson. And then I've got Tennessee over Illinois, setting up an Elite Eight matchup between the Houston Cougars and Rick Barnes' Tennessee Vols.
Okay, so going into the Elite Eight, had an opportunity here for a all 4 1-seed Final Four. Amanda, that hasn't only happened once, and it happened way back in 2008. One time. 2008, that's when the Kansas Jayhawks won it all. Gary, take us through here as you get to your national championship.
I do have Auburn beating Ole Miss. Chris Beard has done a remarkable job turning Ole Miss into a nationally relevant program in year 2, but those are just two different caliber of basketball teams, I think. I'll take Auburn to get to the Final Four for the second time under Bruce Pearl. I've got St. John's beating Florida. I know Florida is a lot of people's trendy Final Four pick, even national championship pick right now, and I'm not here to argue against it. The Gators have obviously been great. St. John's was never going to have the resume stuff to get in the top seed conversation. They just weren't going to have the quadrant 1 wins that Auburn or Florida had. But St. John's is your outright Big East champions, Big East tournament champions, coached by an all-time great, got the Big East Player of the Year, elite defensively, and coming out of the conference that has provided the sport with our past 2 national champions. They check a lot of boxes. Obviously, it'd be a wonderful story to have Rick Pitino at the Final Four. I'm going to predict that he's going to get there. Duke VCU in the East Regional Final. This is where I think the dream ends for the Rams. Duke and Cooper Flagg on to San Antonio. And then I've got Houston getting past Tennessee. So I've got a Final Four, 3 number 1 seeds, and then the 2 seeds, St. John's, out of the West region.
What? Why are you sighing so much?
No, I just,
Tell Gary why you're sighing.
Gary is in midweek bracket form. He really is. I mean, he's in much better form than we are here, I think. How many times have you done this, Gary?
I don't know what I've done, how many times, or where I've done it, or what I've said. I just keep putting in AirPods and saying, ask me something. Just ask me something, and I'll answer it to the best of my ability.
I have a question for you, because I feel like a lot of fans filling out their brackets this week are scared of a few teams, Auburn in particular, because of the way they closed the season. Why do you think that they are going to rebound and regain who they were a few weeks ago?
Totally fair point. I understand the skepticism. Auburn did lose 3 of 4 going into the NCAA tournament, and quite literally no team has ever won an NCAA tournament after losing 3 of its 4 previous games. So history is not on Auburn's side. But Chris, Amanda, I think I can explain where it is that things got twisted up a little bit for Auburn. You know when it was? The second that they wrapped up the outright SEC title, the second that people like me started going on TV and podcast and saying Auburn could lose every game between now and Selection Sunday and still be the number 1 overall seed in the NCAA tournament. The second that their coach went on TV and said, we feel like we've locked up everything or something close to that. It's natural to then let your foot off the gas, so to speak, at some point. When people are already telling you you've accomplished everything you can accomplish so far, now we look forward to the NCAA tournament where we're going to be the number 1 overall seed no matter what happens going forward. Then you slip up and you lose to Texas A&M. And then you expect to bounce back and beat Alabama, but then, you know, it's a top 10 team and they catch you. And then Florida is second at Ken Palm and they catch you. So I know that they did lose 3 of 4, but it was 3 games to top 4 seeds in this NCAA tournament, 3 losses to teams in the top 20 of the net, and 3 losses that came after they were told you don't really have anything to play for anymore. I think this is a wonderful place for Bruce Pearl to reset his entire roster. All right, remember when I told you we were good? That's over. We can't lose anymore. We could afford to take losses and still get a 1 seed, even the number 1 overall seed. We cannot lose anymore. Let's get back to who we were. I can't promise you they will, but I won't be surprised if they do.
Yeah, they were clearly the number 1 team in the country up until they clinched that SEC championship and the number 1 overall seed.
Turn off your phones. Like Rich Rod is banning TikToks. You know, if I'm Bruce Pearl, I'm just saying turn off your phones for the rest of the tournament.
No more dancing on TikTok. Can we make that a rule for everybody of all ages?
You're going to have to talk to people that we work with.
Gary, thank you so much. Join our bracket games on the CBS Sports app and cbssports.com/bracket. It's free. Might as well join.
All right, back here on CBS Sports HQ, some numbers to digest. Here's how each higher seed has fared in the round of 64 in recent years. So sitting pretty in that 1 versus 16 matchup. You look at that 3-14 game, but that 8 versus 9 spot not looking so hot. So what will happen this year? Are we gonna have some upsets, some Cinderella stories? Well, it happens every year. And I think it's time to break it all down.
Let's do it.
With BJ Taylor here on the HQ set. I never like talking poorly about teams or wishing bad on anyone.
Okay.
But we're going to do just that here.
Okay.
About round one upsets. We're going to count down the top 5, and I want you to break it down for me. We're going to start at number 5. Which is a team that you think can get knocked out early in this first round?
You know what? It has to be the matchup with UC San Diego. All right? If you haven't been following UC San Diego and their season, they have been absolutely incredible. A 30-4 record. They're 2-1 in quad 1 games. In layman's terms, that means the teams that made the NCAA tournament, they won 2 of their 3 matchups, which is 1 more than the North Carolina Tar Heels. But I digress. They also have one of the better players coming out of the Big West Conference, Aniwa Tate Jones. All right, an amazing name, also an incredible player. Okay, guy that gets to the free throw line at the caliber of a prime James Harden, a Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, and a Dwayne Wade. He shoots nearly 10 free throws a game. That's why he was able to work his way into being the Big West Player of the Year. And this is a senior-led group, all right? All 3 of their seniors that lead them in scoring, all at the guard position. You need great guards in March. That's exactly what UC San Diego possesses. And Michigan has had a little bit of inconsistency this year, right? Did not finish the regular season strong. Obviously went on that run to win the Big Ten tournament. But inconsistency leads to upsets. UC San Diego could be not only an upset of Michigan, but they could be that sweetheart that dances their way into a Sweet 16.
Dancing their way. Oh, UC San Diego.
I like it, yeah.
Remember the name.
Okay.
Okay, we're going to move on to one of those 14 SEC teams. At number 4, a big upset. Who we going with?
You know what? I'm going to go with Yale over Texas A&M.
Texas A&M, you're out.
The Aggies, okay? They're gonna need the 12th man is what they talk about in football. All right, well, Texas A&M wish they could get somebody out of those bleachers to shoot some 3-pointers for them, because that has been the Aggies' issue all season long. As good as they are defensively, as good as they are at offensive rebounding, one of the best offensive rebounding teams in all of college basketball, what that will tell you is they miss a lot of shots, okay? Can't get offensive rebounds if you don't miss the shot. That's what Texas A&M does a lot of. They do have a special player in Wade Taylor, an All-American guard, in their backcourt, but the fact that Texas A&M struggles so much when it comes to scoring the basketball and shooting from the outside, their advanced statistics on 2-pointers are absolutely horrible. I'm not going to run them off for you because it would just make you feel bad. Also, Yale, out of the Ivy League, ran through that league 13-1, by far the runaway best team in the Ivy League. James Johnson will be a head coaching candidate for some of these high major openings. If he's not, there needs to be an investigation, because he has had the Yale boys playing extremely well all season long. I like Yale to pull the upset against a poor shooting team and Texas A&M.
Yale ranking 8th nationally in 3-point shooting percentage this season as well. So poor shooting team against a team
that's... now you made them feel bad because you said the exact number.
Sorry. That's what I said. I prefaced this whole thing with I don't like making teams feel bad, but that's what we're doing.
It's not
here.
personal. It's just
not
business.
Personal. It's just business. All right. So number 3, upset. Who you got?
Okay, we're gonna have to go with Liberty over. I can't believe I forgot this.
Liberty over Oregon.
Liberty over Oregon. Yes. Okay. I got caught up because you know the commercial that goes Liberty, 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 Liberty. It gets caught in my head, and whenever I say Liberty, my mind goes blank. But nevertheless, I am going to take Liberty over Oregon. Now, Oregon is a team. We talked about inconsistency, and that's what they have been this season. Oregon, losers of 5 straight games during the middle of conference play. They will turn that around to win 8 straight, but I don't like when a team has a long losing streak and long winning streaks. I like teams that are consistent, all right? Win 4, lose 1. Win 3, lose 1, win 4. I like that much more. I think when you're an inconsistent basketball team like Dana Altman's group is, they struggle to get points in the paint. They struggle to get to the free throw line. They are a decent 3-point shooting team. But whenever you don't consistently perform well throughout your season, I think that sets you up to get knocked off early, and I think Liberty could be that team to do it.
I'm going to set you up for another question about an upset team, and it's between BYU and VCU.
Okay.
Which team is going to go down?
I'm going to go with the BYU Cougars, all right? And I love Utah. All right, it's a great place, terrific place to spend time, especially in the winter. You know, us Florida people, we get out there, go spend some time in the cold in the winter.
Except for Amanda Guerra. I think she would have different thoughts about Utah right now.
Okay.
Our dear friend who is recovering from surgery. She's,
yeah,
you know,
yeah, our thoughts are with Amanda.
Yeah, just be careful.
Yeah, you gotta be careful out there skiing. It can get a little tricky, all right?
Yeah.
Nevertheless, I'm gonna go with the BYU Cougars to get knocked off by VCU. Why? Because VCU was one of the best teams in the A-10 all year long, and they continue to play VCU style of basketball going back to the Shaka Smart days where it's all about forcing turnovers, turning defense into offense, and getting out and running. They had an extremely challenging game over the weekend to pick up that A-10 title. It was really an A-10 tiebreaker of regular season champs between them and George Mason. They have the player of the year in the A-10 and Max Sugar, an extremely tough guard to defend and keep out of the paint. If you're VCU, you have to be playing with a lot of confidence, as well as that game over the weekend. Extremely close game, came down to the wire. VCU now has experience in March Madness caliber games with March Madness expectations, with March Madness implications on the line. VCU's battle tested, they're ready to go. I like them over the BYU Cougars.
I feel like in talking to all the experts you included, this one's going to be a battle. Like, I feel like that one's going to be
contrasting styles as well. BYU's an offensive team, VCU's a defensive team.
Evenly matched up there in that way. That's going to be a really good one. Okay, one final team on upset alert.
Yes.
And this one might surprise some people potentially in the Big Ten. Who is it?
Well, it's March. We got to get funny, all right? We can't just go chalk with these things, right? Let's get tricky. I'm going with High Point and Allen Huss's group over the Purdue Boilermakers.
What?
All right? Now, Purdue has been a staple in college basketball over the past 3 seasons. Zach Edey, a 2-time National Player of the Year. The most dominant force is gone. They replaced him. Or excuse me, Braden Smith has stepped up to the plate. He kept the run of Big Ten Player of the Year award going. Zach Edey twice. This season it was Braden Smith. They still have a Trey Kaufman-Wren inside, but I believe in High Point. Why? High Point 29-5 on the season, only lost 2 conference games. And here's the one thing that I would tell anybody about these upsets in March, okay? Winning is a habit.
Winning is a habit.
Winning is a habit. So a lot of times we look at these teams that come from smaller conferences, from the Big West, from the Ivy League, from the SWAC, wherever you may choose, from the MAC conference. These teams have lost 3 or 4 games throughout their entire season. That means they went months of winning basketball games. So just because they're playing a Purdue or they're playing a high major Big 12, they're playing an SEC, they're going against an ACC, whatever group that's supposed to be a Power 4 conference. These teams have figured out how to win, right? So the difference in competition level psychologically is not affecting them because their expectation each and every time out is to win. That's High Point's expectation. You don't go 29-5 and with one more win have a 30-win year and not expect to go out there and win. You can put High Point out there against the 2012 Kentucky Wildcats. All right, you can put them out there against some of John Wooden's groups back in the 60s when they had Kareem. High Point feels like they deserve to win, and High Point feels like a winning basketball team. I'm going with High Point.
If they had a winner of the Selection Sunday show reveals, High Point would win.
Okay.
They were freaking fired up.
Fired up.
And it was like
that's how you do
a whole arena full of people. Like, it wasn't just the team being like, yay, we made it.
Exactly. Their enthusiasm for playing is different than a Purdue, right? Purdue, you're going to get that TPC Sawgrass golf clap. You know, like you made a 5-footer just. You get High Point.
And you want to know why another reason they're probably so excited? Tim Doyle let us know they have a great steakhouse on campus.
Oh, that'll work for you.
So,
we love a good steak.
There's so many good things about High Point.
You're probably a medium rare, huh?
I'm a medium.
Okay, well, I'm medium well done guy.
That is something we need to talk about off camera.
Hey, that's something we do need to talk about off camera.
Yeah.
I'll tell you why.
Okay, I want to know why, because you should be thrown out of a steakhouse. BJ Taylor with some upsets. I'm upset hearing about his order at steakhouses, but that's, we'll chat about that elsewhere.
It's all going to make sense here in a second.
I can't wait. It's bracket time. Get your brackets in now. CBS Sports app. You can play with a pool of your friends. Join the men's and women's challenges for your chance to win a new SUV. How about a trip to the 2026 Final Four? Get the CBS Sports app or visit cbssports.com/brackets to play now.
The most wonderful time of the year. March Madness is finally here to help us break down some of the players that will turn heads in the tournament. Director of Scouting for 24/7 Sports, Adam Finkelstein, joins the show IRL and in the flesh. Adam, I think we're going to start with this South region. Who is your player to watch there?
Well, first of all, sorry about the Rutgers thing. It was tough. It was tough. South region, we're going to have to go with Janai Broome, one of the two best players in college basketball. He and Cooper Flagg have been going back and forth all season long. But if you're one of those people that's just starting to dive deep into college basketball, first of all, where you've been the last 3 months, but here's what you need to know about Janai Broome. 22-year-old super senior, originally from Florida, started his career at Morehead State, transferred to Auburn after 2 seasons. He's now in his 3rd year for Bruce Pearl. He leads Auburn in almost every major statistical category: points, rebounds, blocks. He's even, I think, 3rd in assists. This guy gets it done across the board. He is a total stat stuffer, and he also does it on the defensive end of the floor. So one of the 2 candidates for National Player of the Year. He's helped his NBA draft stock in the process, and he is certainly the player to watch in the South region in this year's NCAA tournament.
And he's in the team to watch in the South. I don't think there is a bracket across the country that does not have Auburn coming out of the South. As we move to the West, this one was the hardest for me. I was stuck between Florida and St. John's doing my bracket.
What'd you go with?
2 seed. I went with Florida. They're both 30-4, but mainly because of the strength of schedule. Would your player to watch happen to come out of one of those 2 programs?
So it's funny you should say that, because the player I have to watch played for Rick Pitino at Iona, and now he plays at Florida, and I'm talking about Walter Clayton. So Walter Clayton played at Iona for Rick Pitino for 2 years, went into the transfer portal, and everybody assumed he was just going to follow Coach P down the road to St. John's. Instead, the Florida native opts to go home. He commits to Todd Golden. Now, his first year at Florida, had a great season, was known as the sharpshooter for the Gators last year. This year, he's turned into more of an initiator. He's almost doubled his assists per game. He's continuing to shoot the ball at a rapid rate, taking almost 8 threes per game, but he's a much more versatile threat this season. So the NCAA committee, as they tend to do, come up with different storylines, and what a storyline it would be if Walter Clayton in Florida were facing Rick Pitino in St. John's for a chance to go to San Antonio. Walter Clayton is my best player in this region, and he's got a heck of a storyline to tell.
Come on with it. Now, from the wild, wild West, let's go to the East. There are only 2 categories that people fit in. They either love Duke and they are diehard Blue Devils, or they cannot stand them. There is no gray area there. Would your player to watch happen to come out of the team to watch in the East?
Yeah, I don't think that you can't deny it, right? It's Cooper Flagg. I mean, you could talk about one player to watch in the entire tournament, and it's Cooper Flagg. Cooper Flagg, everybody wants to know how healthy the ankle is. Duke says it's fine. I say Duke's not going to tell us if it's not fine. We're not going to know until they tip it up this weekend. So what I will say about Cooper Flagg is he has a chance to be both the AP Player of the Year as well as the first pick in the NBA draft. If he were to do that, he would become just the 3rd freshman in history to do that, joining Anthony Davis and Zion Williamson. We will see if he's able to complete that. I will also say he's at the helm of a Duke team that many people have considered one of the 2 favorites to win the national championship. Now, they are significantly younger than Auburn, but they have a legit chance to do it if Cooper Flagg is healthy. They might have won the ACC tournament without him. They will not get to a Final Four without him. He's that critical, and he impacts the game in too many ways. Both ends of the floor, defense, both on and off the ball, offense, both on and off the ball. This guy literally does it all. And the only reason he's in high school is because he was born at the end of December. If he was born a week later, he'd still be a senior in high school and not even eligible for the 2025 NBA draft.
That's just insane when you think about it. Hopefully he's healthy. When you get to the tournament, you want to see the full strength of all your players. All right, now we're taking you to the Midwest. Who is going to have the best dance moves out there?
The best dance, this is counterintuitive because I don't really think of Matt Painter as a dancer at Purdue.
At least not yet.
Yeah, but I will say this, Braden Smith. When you take away Cooper Flagg and Janai Broome and you ask yourself who is the best player in the country come March Madness, I want a guard. I want somebody who's got the ball in his hands all the time. Braden Smith is that guy, and he's also someone who has been there before. Remember, Purdue went to the national championship game last year. They had a team that was based around Zach Edey. This year they come back. They lose the 2-time National Player of the Year. And what does Braden Smith do? He puts up 16 points, almost 9 assists against less than 3 turnovers, 5 rebounds, and over 2 steals per game. on 44, 38, 83% shooting. This guy stuffs all columns of the stat sheet. He does it incredibly well. And on top of that, he orchestrates an offense that is top 10 in the country. And how about this? They are playing even slower than they did last year with Zach Edey. And I know that seems really counterintuitive, but they slow it down. They're very deliberate. They put the ball in this guy's hands. They have the utmost trust in him, and he has delivered for Matt Painter all season long.
I love that you're showing him some love, especially it's the Boilermakers. Not everyone is really talking about them as a team to go super far. But look at this right here. The last two Big Ten players with 16 points per game, 8 assists, Braden and Magic Johnson. Maybe you heard of him. Not too shabby.
Not a bad player.
Yeah. Now, March Madness, what makes it so great is the sleepers. No one has them. No one sees them coming, and they just come out and bust your bracket. Who do you have flying under the radar that people should watch out for?
All right, so we're going to talk about an individual player, a mid-major guy, keeping with that sleeper theme. I want to talk about Nick Clifford at Colorado State. And now, anybody who was watching him last week saw this guy start to take the country by storm. But the reality is that started about a month ago. Since January 18th, this guy has been putting up absolutely huge numbers. And I'll tell you what, I think he's got a chance to lead Colorado State to an upset. They are one of my favorite Cinderella picks. They're going up against a Memphis team that could be missing Tyrese Hunter. I alluded to those stats. Here's what you need to know. Since June 18th, he has been averaging 20 points, 9 rebounds, and 5 assists per game. In the postseason, he pushed that up to 25 points, 10 rebounds, and 4 assists. Colorado State jumps on this guy's back. He's leading them to the NCAA Tournament. He's leading them to a conference championship. And I think he's got another win or two left in the bag before he's all done.
Maybe this is a team that might bust some brackets. Adam Finkelstein, thank you so much for your time and expertise. CBS is your home for March Madness. Let's make it National Call Out of Work Week so you can see all the first round action on Thursday and Friday. Our coverage starts with number 8 Louisville taking on number 9 Creighton in the South region. The upsets, the thrillers, the buzzer beaters, all here on CBS.
6'1", and I round up to 6'2".
Okay, so the tournament is always a good time to take a look at some of the top prospects heading into the NBA draft. There is no one competing with Cooper Flagg as the clear-cut #1 overall pick. We decided to show you him injured, though. That's not going to make a difference in any of this. Cooper Flagg, widely regarded as the top player in men's college basketball. Adam Finkelstein's mock draft, Cooper Flagg going #1 overall, followed by Dylan Harper, then Ace Bailey. What makes Cooper Flagg just so darn good, and who else should we keep an eye on? Let's welcome in our good friend Adam Finkelstein. Hold on, I pulled this up. So people look, they know the name Cooper Flagg. They're going to be watching the tournaments. They want to be educated. I typed into the Googles, what makes Cooper Flagg so good? I'm going to put you up against AI. AI says exceptional size, athleticism, versatility. What does Adam Finkelstein have to say?
You just ended Finkelstein's career. Because now you know AI can do his job.
No, he can't. That's what I'm saying. That Adam can do a better job.
All right, Adam, do a better job.
Those are just stupid buzzwords.
I'm all right for another year or so. I would not have led with exceptional size. Versatility for sure. Killer for sure. Two-way player. He actually has somewhat marginal size positionally. He's about 6'8", 6'9". If you can say he's a big wing, then okay, I'll give you the size. But he projects more as a 4 at this point, with ultimately the size to translate into a big facilitator. He's a terrific passer for his size. The two areas in which we've seen the most growth this year are with his shot creation and his shooting. And I know that sounds surprising for someone who is viewed as the consensus #1 overall pick, because you just assume he's going to be able to go out and get you 30 every night, but not necessarily who he's been to date. He's someone who impacts winning in a variety of ways. So credit AI for the versatility tag, that was right on. But the rest of it, the AI still has a little work to catch up.
See, this is why we trust Adam and not AI. Thank you very much,
better
Chris.
than big wing.
We're not going to go to AI for any of the rest of this, but some other players we're keeping an eye on here in the tournament. We got a guy out of Baylor, VJ Edgecombe here, projected as a top 5 pick. I was looking back when he was in high school. At one point, he was 153rd in the rankings, according to 24/7. Ended up as a 5-star, and now he here is a potential top 5 pick. Why is he so good?
Well, it's been a rapid escalation for the last couple of years. He's actually a Bahama native who played on their national team last summer in Olympic qualifying and had a terrific summer. So we knew about him coming out of high school. He was a top 5 player in the country, but then he took his game to new levels in the summer and has continued to do that throughout the course of the season at Baylor. He had an injury that derailed him a little bit in late January, but he's come back strong. We're talking about the best athlete in the draft, a super competitive defender, and for him, it's been the growth of his skill set that's really helped him play his way into a position where he's got a good chance to be a top 5 pick. And now as you look at that bracket, you can see it may be him versus Cooper Flagg in the second round, what could not only be a matchup of 2 potential top 5 picks, but remember Jeremy Roach is on that Baylor team too, and he played for Duke the last 4 years.
Another star in this tournament here, Asa Newell, coming out of Georgia here. We saw Anthony Edwards come out of Georgia. That year they did not make the tournament, so we didn't get to see him play. Asa Newell, what do we need to know about him?
Not quite on that Anthony Edwards level, but he is a very high floor player. And what I mean by that is with a left-hander who's got his kind of size, his athleticism, his mobility, he's going to be able to come in and play modern-day NBA-style defense, and that means he can guard pick and rolls a couple different ways. He can be fairly versatile along the front line. He's athletic at the rim as a finisher, and he's got some shooting potential. The extent to which that develops is really going to determine what kind of NBA player he is, or at least what his ceiling could be down the road. Does he become more than an offensive role player? If the shooting comes on, it could open up different things in his game. But at the moment, you're talking about somebody who's 6'10", 6'11", who can move, who can be versatile on both ends of the floor, and that is really what the modern-day NBA is all about. So he should feel he's a very surefire first-round pick and potentially a lottery pick.
Georgia, a 9 seed here, taking on an 8 seed Gonzaga in the first round. One more player we want to talk about, Maryland's Derek King. Our producer Noah says that he has yet to fill out his bracket. He claims he has Maryland going all the way to the Final Four. So Derek Queen is kind of a fringe lottery pick from what I'm understanding. What are you hoping to see from him in the tournament?
So this is the interesting thing. Derek Queen, Cooper Flagg, and Asa Newell were all high school teammates. And Derek Queen, 2 years ago, believe it or not, was the leading scorer on that team. He was a guy who has put up big numbers throughout his high school career, both at Montverde Academy and even on the AAU circuit, or the Under Armour Association circuit to be exact, where he played with Team Thrill. He's kind of a throwback style, or at least not your conventional modern day big, because he's not the long athlete that we see so conventionally now. He's someone who can put the ball on the floor. He can really play make. He can really pass. And he's just a talented, skilled front court guy who causes mismatch problems.
Adam, we appreciate it. I think we cut you off a little early because we're running out of time. We have a lot of time to talk to you as we get ready for the tournament here. March Madness Live, the app. You can watch every men's game live. Make sure to download and follow.
My wife is upset because she knows the second and the third TV are going to be wheeled into the living room beginning on Thursday.
Okay. That's it?
That's it.
Good show, Chris.
Thank you.
Get ready for the tournament.
Welcome back.
March Madness starts with the first game of the first 4, St. Francis and Alabama State. The winner plays #1 overall seed Auburn in the round of 64. St. Francis riding a 6-game win streak. Alabama State has never won a tournament game. First half, Wayne Crawford from downtown drains the tray. St. Francis up 6. Second minute left in the half. Pass to Cranford beyond the arc. Drains a high arching 3. Flash up 8. Just over a minute left in the half. Cranford looking. Feeds Riley Parker out of his corner office. St. Francis up 9. Largest lead of the half. 5 minutes left in the second. Hornets. TJ Madlock, the deuce and the damage. Hornets down 1 after their first made free throw. Next Alabama State possession. CJ Hines. Are you surprised? Nope. Another 3. The Hornets up 2. First lead since 10-9 in the first half. 2 minutes left. Amar Knox, the off-balance floater, drops it. Alabama State up 2. Getting hot. Ensuing St. Francis possession, Micah Octave forces a turnover, flies up court, and the 2-hand jam. Hornets up 4. Can they hold on? Just under a minute left. The handoff to Chris Moncrief. They love beyond the arc in this one. Drains it. Final 11 seconds. Same score. Alabama State TJ Maxx at the line with a chance for the lead. Misses first of a 1-and-1. St. Francis, the rebound, racing over half court to call timeout. Ball is poked loose. Cranford picks it up, and he's stripped of the ball. Possession goes to Alabama State. What the heck just happened there? Hornets with the chance to deal the final sting. Final 3.4 to play. Hail Mary pass. Ball bounces around and ends up in the hands of Knox. He puts it up and in. This is March Madness, folks. The Hornets win it 70-68. Alabama State advances to play the 1 seed Auburn in the round of 64. Here's John Rothstein with the hero.
Tony, Amar, congratulations. Have you ever been involved in a play like that in all your years of basketball?
I don't think so, but I know one thing. I told you, all of our games end just like this. We either got to get a stop or we got to get a bucket.
How did your tempo change the game in the second half?
Well, we talked about it. Remember we said we had to turn the pressure up, so we was able to do that.
Why do things change for your team when this guy steps up, not just on the last play, but throughout the game?
Well, the thing about it is, he's a first-team all-SWAC guy. He didn't have a great tournament, so we knew he had to come out and get it going tonight, and he did.
All right, congratulations, Amar. Come on in right now.
Memphis, stand up, baby.
You got it. Amar, come on in here right now. How has this team won 7 games in a row?
Man, these guys are amazing. Each and every day they come in, work. No matter if we up or down, they find a way to help us win this game. And it's a full team effort.
Auburn is next. Your thought process?
Our process is just, get ready for scouting report, get ready to play hard, and we just go play hard. And whatever outcome comes, we're trying to get the win.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
What a moment, what a game for that young man. The road only gets harder from here. They face Auburn next. They have their second 1 seed in program history, the last time 1999, while this team that you just saw right there, they defeated St. Francis 70-68. Alabama State, that is, in the first 4 on Tuesday. Auburn lost to a 13 seed, Yale, in the round of 64 last season. So you're saying there's a chance?
There is only a way to tip off this beautiful madness. With a heave-ho, a tip, and a lay-in just shy of the buzzer. Alabama State, with that prayer answered, is set to take on Auburn in the first round as Alabama State collects their first ever tournament win. Locker room postgame.
We're going to have to get on that road tonight. But listen, this is what it is, man. We told y'all about our games, all of them. But I told them, we spend more time on situational stuff. Touchdown, great pass. Way to go get it. Way to go get it. And then all they want, I want this ball. I want this ball, and I got to score this ball. Man, that's what you got to do, man. That is a winning play. That is a winning pass. That's everything, man. Everything that we talk about. Again, we ain't through. Let's keep playing. So proud. First tournament win in Alabama State history. Hey, got to 20 wins. How many years? 16 years. I'm telling you, let's just keep doing it. Let's keep doing it. Hey, let's fly around and have fun. I want to have fun. That's all we're gonna do, man. But we know we got to play better. We know it. I'm just so proud of you guys, man. Hey, we're going to get out of here. We got media stuff we got to do. We're going to get to that hotel. We're going to shower. We're going to get on that road. We're going to Lexington. Let's go.
Isn't that what the whole thing's all about? First 4, wasting no time to get us going to the tourney. The madness is here. Adam Finkelstein, Joe Musso. Adam, that last play is obviously going to steal all the attention. Those last 3 possessions were wild. We had a loose ball, someone diving at someone else's legs. We had a would-be go-ahead free throw that goes awry, a ball kneed out of bounds, only to end in a Hail Mary. What do you make of that last 30 or so seconds of game clock?
I mean, that is a microcosm of what we love so much about this month. All the drama, all the theatrics, the playmaking, the celebration, the devastation. We saw it all there in 2 minutes. For 2 teams, let's face it, for 99% of America had never heard before, and they delighted the country tonight. 20 days from now, we're going to hear Luther Vandross singing One Shining Moment, and Amar Knox is going to be in that.
It could be that first glimmer of it, as it was our first glimpse into the frenetic pace that March does offer us here. What a ball game here between St. Francis and Alabama State. Not a whole lot between them throughout this game. Tied late in it, and then it ends that way. The significance of this win, because we will look forward, and out in front of you now is the top seed in the entire bracket. We're not going to go there just yet. But the significance to Alabama State to collect a win here. What does something like this mean to a program?
I thought Coach said it perfectly in that locker room after the game. First tournament win in program history, 20-win season, and no matter what happens coming up next with Auburn, pardon me, in the state of Alabama, two local teams, they cannot take this away. They made history tonight, and as I said, they had the entire nation watching their game, and they put on a show that will be remembered for years to come.
Yeah, one that will be celebrated there at Alabama State, surely, and it's a interesting observation there, as we will have two Alabama teams going head-to-head between Alabama State and now Auburn. Don't call it the Iron Bowl, but we will certainly call it a 1 versus 16. I guess you could go on Auburn here if you like, but from what you saw out of Alabama State, where might the pressure point be in the matchup for a team that's so outclassed in terms of the top overall seed?
How they're going to pressure Auburn?
Yeah.
Yeah, they had a good night tonight. Let's talk about that. No, I would say this. I mean, listen, they are playing with house money, and it is a long shot to say the least. It's only been done one time in history. Can they do it? I personally don't think so, but as I said, it doesn't matter. They made history tonight. These are memories that those kids are going to tell their grandkids about one day. And I will say this, before the late game heroics, give them credit for two things in particular that I thought helped them get to the point where a play like that was possible. Number one, they got paint touches consistently in the second half. And the thing they did on defense, they continued to change their coverages. Sometimes they would match up out of that zone. Other times they'd stay in a more traditional zone, and it kept St. Francis off balance. I thought those were two strategic things that they did in the second half that put them in position to make an all-time theatrical play like the one we just saw.
Yeah, one we won't forget, 34-20, the advantage in the paint for Alabama State. That leads them now to this matchup with Auburn. Talk to me about Auburn. What's the thing that excites you most about this team with massive expectation on their shoulders and now a 16 seed in front of them?
I think one of the things about Auburn is just that they've had the better part of a week to get healthy. You know, I mean, people talk about how they finished the season and they had lost a few games. What people forget about is they'd already clinched the SEC regular season. They really weren't playing for anything else. Janai Broome had come back, and there were reports that maybe he wasn't quite 100%. These 6 days should really do him wonders in terms of being able to rehab that ankle and get it to 100%, because make no mistake about it, they need him to be 100% to have a chance to win this national championship, and they are legitimate national championship contenders. You know what else they are, Joe? They're old. They're old. Everybody, I mean, Janai Broome is 22 years old. We talk about them and Duke as the two front runners to be a national championship contender. Yeah. Duke starts 3 18-year-olds. Auburn starts everybody's over 22 years old. I mean, it is a different level of physical maturity on that roster, and give them credit for understanding the dynamics of the way the current system works, making use out of that COVID year, that 5th year of eligibility. They are utilizing this experience, and I think they've been, when you consider their strength of schedule, the best college basketball team we've seen this season.
It's very interesting, as we do have these brand name programs occupying those two ends of the gamut.
Yeah.
Young and old, we get to see head-to-head here what it might look like moving forward as we get further down the bracket. But the task at hand now for Alabama State is the top overall seed in Auburn. That'll be Rupp Arena, Lexington, Kentucky.
Little celebration. Enjoy the celebration first.
Heat warning to the wise. Enjoy this victory. Adam, thank you. All right, here's a look. 16 versus 1. Only a couple times before. So enjoy this one. Alabama State in theatrical fashion down the stretch gets it done against St. Francis and earns a trip to Lexington, Kentucky to take on the top overall seed. More coming here on CBS Sports HQ. Oh, there it is. The Velcro stamp, whatever you got, an adhesive of some sort, you're in. Put them in the bracket, Alabama State, in wild fashion.
The wait is over. March Madness is officially here. He's Joe Musso. I'm Crystal Rich. Just like high-low action in hoops, we saw some highs and lows on the first day of the first four.
Yeah, very fair to say there. Mismatches and madness all on display during day one of the first four. We begin with blue blood. You know, Carolina blue that had everybody up in arms. Justified or not, Tar Heels announcing their arrival in grand fashion. So let's dance. North Carolina and San Diego State going up in the first 4. Winner gets a Friday evening date with Ole Miss. Tar Heels in unfamiliar territory, their first ever first 4 appearance, and many saying the resume shouldn't even got them there. Then this, mid-first half, Jalen Withers, corner 3, pots on Simmer. Tar Heels already up 12, ensuing San Diego State possession, a giveaway, hoop at the other end, Seth Trimble. Simmer turns to Boyle, minute later. Elliot Cadeau finds Van Allen Lubin, slams it home. Minute later, a roaring Boyle. Inside, hard layup falls. Trimble, Tar Heels up 21, all part of a 22-3 run, dismantling one of the top-rated defensive units in the sport. Final seconds of the half, RJ Davis, heat check, still hot. Carolina looking like they belong. Tar Heels up 24 at half. 47 points, the most allowed in the first half this season by San Diego State. Mid-second half, Davis still good. Tar Heels up 28. Davis not done later in the half. A 37-point game. Even 40 sounds better. Davis finishes with a game-high 26, a perfect 6 of 6 from three-point range. The Tar Heels keep on dancing. 95-68 is your final. 95 points, 31 more than San Diego State's season average against. Wow. So for all that was said, put it to sleep. The Heels are here. They set a school record for most made threes in an NCAA tournament game with 14.
No, I don't think it was a weight on us to try to get into the NCAA tournament. My communication with them is to always focus on us. It's not the noise on the outside in terms of comments and critics, and focusing on our preparation, our practice, and our play. And I consistently send that message in a number of different ways, because that's the only thing that we have control over. And so why waste time doing anything else? And this group has been one of the best at staying connected and staying the course through windy and turbulent times, and also, you know, clear sky days as well. And it doesn't surprise me that they played one of their better games today. It's been a real focused group, and you can just, over the last 2 months, it's just their commitment to team is just continuing to grow. I talked earlier in the year about how quiet this team was, and the voices. The volume of the voices is exactly where it needs to be, whether it's in the huddle, on the bus, on the floor. Just a real connected group right now.
Need is a chance, just an opportunity. North Carolina was given one, and man, did they take advantage. 95-68, they win their first 4 matchup against San Diego State University, going away. RJ Davis leading the way with 26 points, a perfect 6 of 6 from three-point range, aiding a side that shot 58% from long range. North Carolina shot at 52% from the floor. One of the top defensive teams in the country dismantled by the Tar Heels, who are moving on to play Ole Miss. Back in studio, Joe Musso alongside CBS Sports college hoops analyst Adam Finkelstein. Adam, you just said it off camera. I don't know if I had that, and I don't know if I had that on my bingo card. This was not just a win, but there was an urgency in the way that North Carolina sort of picked apart San Diego State, specifically in that first half. What stood out to you most?
That they played 40 minutes. I mean, credit where credit is due. They put it together, and they did not let their foot off the gas. And I said it at halftime, like, this is a team that has not played for 40 minutes very consistently, but they did it tonight. And that took a lot of, I think that took a lot of discipline, quite honestly, because when you're up this much, there's a natural inclination to start to look ahead, to start to think to 48 hours from now. But they did not. They were in the moment. And candidly, this is the North Carolina team everybody was expecting back in November. But it is a new season right now, and the Tar Heel program that was promised, hey, that's what we saw for the last 40 minutes.
And for the last 40 hours, we've been hearing a lot about how North Carolina didn't belong because of their quad one, because of the Ken Palm, because of other things that pointed towards maybe it was West Virginia and not the brand named here in North Carolina. I think Ole Miss might be the biggest loser here as they now have to face a very hot North Carolina team. We'll get to that matchup in a moment, but San Diego State really didn't show for this one. You look at the offensive numbers, and it's sort of a picture of who they've been throughout this year. Defensively, to allow 95 points to, I don't care who the opponent is, if you're one of the top-rated defensive units in the country, what at that end of the court lacked tonight?
The part that I am most surprised about, because I picked North Carolina 2 hours ago. I did not think it would go anything like this. I thought, even at halftime, I said, Brian Dutcher coach team, they are going to come back and they are going to fight to the bitter end. There was no fight. There was no comeback. This was just a 40-minute smacking. And that, to me, is the biggest surprise. This looked like a San Diego State team that was just happy to be here, that was just happy to say they got into the tournament. And that, to me, is super surprising. Like you said, an elite defensive team throughout the course of the season, the #1 shot-blocking team in college basketball per the analytic models at Ken Palm. And yet there was just a total lack of fight tonight. And this is a program that is known for their grit, their toughness, their physicality.
Yeah.
And that was nowhere to be found.
You never want to point at a team, especially at this point in the season, and say it lacked effort, but it certainly lacked effort early, which led to some bad body language, which led to a lopsided result here. I know we heard a lot, again, out of North Carolina, and we didn't listen to it, we didn't watch it, we don't hear it.
Oh, they watched it.
Vindication in some sense or another here, maybe not internal, but external. Is this a statement to the masses that, we belong?
Oh, yeah. I think, again, take it into consideration. We hadn't seen them play 40. So what changed? What changed? They suddenly wake up, or did they suddenly have something to rally around? And I'll tell you what, Hubert Davis, he's a gentleman. When he says he didn't watch it, he didn't listen to it, I believe him. Now, he didn't say his players didn't listen to it. He didn't say his assistants didn't listen to it. And this is a team that looked like they had something to prove. And honestly, it's one of the first times all season long that we have seen them click like that. And I said it before, I'll say it again. This is who we expected them to be. They had the pieces from day one. The pieces just didn't seem to fit. And when R.J. Davis is playing like he did tonight, like one of the best guards in the country, which is what we expected him to be coming into the season, they are a brand new team.
Yeah, R.J. Davis, the last semblance of that team that went to a Final Four some years back. Also, pieces on this team of a group that went to the Sweet 16 a year ago. There is a pedigree there, and that pedigree came to the forefront here in the first four. We now look forward to UNC, Ole Miss. Again, Ole Miss is a team that flaws have been pointed out on this air. Shout out to our guy Tim Doyle, who's really going hard on X right now. They're coming for him on X right now.
Yeah, I mean, on behalf of CBS Sports HQ, I'd like to apologize to the state of Mississippi and just say that one of us here thinks you have a shot in 48 hours.
Put me down for 2.
Yeah, I mean, got a shot. Yeah, well, listen, I mean, Chris Beard's boys come to play.
Yeah.
Every day, you're talking about 6 players who score in double figures. They get after you defensively. They turn you over. And now this is a North Carolina team that does fatigue become an issue. Clearly, momentum's going to be a factor. But we'll see.
Yeah, some travel in between. When you picture these two teams on a court together, it's hard to picture the night of perfection that we got here from the floor from UNC, but moving it in the right direction, taking on a team that will have more rest on their side, as you said. What do you think might be the discerning factor between these two entities in Ole Miss and UNC?
I think let's go back to tonight. 5 minutes into this game, North Carolina was throwing the ball all over the gym like we'd seen so many times, and they finally started to take care of the basketball, and that's when this game turned. That was a key tonight. It is going to be a key against Ole Miss as well. If you want to characterize the Ole Miss defense, you would talk about making plays. They force steals, they block shots, but one of the things but they're foul prone and they tend to give up a lot of threes. So it is a high risk, high reward defensive system. Put it all together, it's very good. It's top 25 in the country, but it provides opportunities if you can take care of the basketball. North Carolina has got to take care of the basketball. That has been a subplot for the last month of their season, and it's never going to be more important than it will be against Ole Miss.
That is your 11-6 in the South, and there's a new blue blood making their way to the big bracket as UNC makes a statement here on Tuesday night. All right, here's a look at that bracket, the South region specific. Ole Miss, North Carolina, we are set. And how about that? The Tar Heels, Adam, going off as a 1.5-point favorite here, early look line with the total coming in at 153.5.
When did Doyle start making lines?
Shout out to our guy, Timmy D. He is not moving Ole Miss over. He said, as broadly as this, whoever wins the North Carolina-San Diego State matchup, I'm moving them over. Didn't even need to see a winner. Well, once you see this, you also look at a North Carolina team that's got a chance to make some noise here in the big bracket.